What's up, everybody? This is Mario, and I'm back with another episode of Endurify. And before I get into today's episode, I probably need to start with some spiel about how I am not a financial advisor, and all of the information that I share in this episode is just my own opinion or the opinions of someone else. And I don't know what the exact legal terms and the exact legal things that I need to say to sufficiently cover my hiney, but just wanted to say, just going to be trying to share some information that I'm learning about before taking any action on it. Consult with a registered financial advisor. I think that's it. So as you see from the title of this episode, what I wanted to do is I wanted to share some things that I'm learning about personal finance that could help you as an endurance athlete or as a triathlete. So first, why is that important? So if you've already done an endurance event, or if you're now starting to get into endurance and triathlons and Ironmans and half Ironmans and trail runs and ultra runs, then you're quickly going to discover this is an expensive sport. This is an expensive hobby. And in order for you to really be able to continue to do it, and to, adapt the lifestyle, you're going to need to take care of your personal finances. And so this is, an important topic. Now, it is expensive, but it is also an investment. That's the way that I think about it. And I believe that the most important investment is the one that you can make in yourself, and especially in your personal growth, but also in your health. By competing in these events, by setting that goal, and by having something that you consistently train for, it's going to result in you becoming a healthier person. It's going to result in you having more energy. So, what is that worth to you is kind of a question that I want you to think about. So just a couple of expenses that you're going to, need to have. Let's say that you want to compete in a half Ironman. So first, registering for the actual event. That can be anywhere from $200 to $400, depending on if it's an actual half Ironman branded event, or if it's just a local, 70.3 mile type of race. So you're looking at a couple $100 for an actual bike. Hopefully you already have a bike. If you don't have a bike, you can, get something for around $1,000, $1,500, all the way up to, $5,000 or more if you're looking for a triathlon bike. That doesn't include your helmet, your shoes, running shoes, another $100. If you're looking to really improve your time, you're going to want some aero bars, some tri bars. Those are going to be another couple $100, 100, 150, 200 potentially, depending on what type you go for. Nutrition, things like gels, recovery drinks, those things add up. Salt tabs, all of those things really add up. But like I said, I want you to think about this as an investment in yourself. And it's something that's going to result in more energy and a healthier long-term lifestyle, because I really believe in the endurance and the triathlon lifestyle. So with that out of the way, clearly taking care of your finances is important, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're setting yourself up financially for success in the long term, and you're not hurting yourself by competing in these endurance events. So as I've mentioned on some of the previous episodes, I am a part of, I have a Growth Day membership, which is a company that's put on by Brendan Burchard. He's one of the high performance speakers, one of the highest paid coaches in the world. And there are different experts that he's bringing on this month to talk about confidence. And this week, one of the experts was talking about confidence with your finances, and his name is David Bach, and he is an American financial author. He's a TV personality. He's a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur, and he's the founder of FinishRich.com. So that's FinishRich.com. So he's kind of best known for his Finish Rich book series and the Automatic Millionaire series that are just motivational financial books that are all under that Finish Rich brand. So he's got, 15 different books that he's written. And the most popular ones are The Automatic Millionaire, The Latte Factor, and Smart Women Finish Rich. So definitely you can look him up. He is credible. He is definitely an expert in his field. And he came on last week to talk about how do you gain confidence with your finances. And basically what he shared was a little bit of a background on how to gain confidence with your finances, but he also shared just 5 questions that he can ask a person in about 15 minutes to determine, are they setting themselves up for financial security or not? So I want to get into those today and share those with you. But first, he talks about how finance is a key pillar of your life, and it affects your quality of life. It affects your family. But like he says, is it's not really about the money. It's really about what the money can do for you, because what he believes is when you fix your finances, you free yourself to live your best self. And the other thing that he said, which is really interesting that I agree with, is that people struggle financially because they don't teach us about it in school. That's something that I was actually kind of frustrated about is, once I got my first job, had a little bit of student debt from college, and, how do I pave this way? How do I start paying for my apartment, paying down debt, saving for retirement, doing all of these different things? And I basically had to do a bunch of research, and I had to read a couple of different books and kind of figure out personal finance for myself. And I'm so glad that I did, because I'm in a good position now because of it. But why isn't this taught in schools? It's something that's so important. And, he talks about how the money game and the financial game, it's something that if you don't know how to play the game or how to do better, it's almost like the game is rigged against you. And so, with that context out of the way, like I mentioned, he talks about how there are 5 questions that he can ask somebody within the first 10 to 15 minutes of getting to know them to understand, are they setting themselves up for financial security and confidence or not? And so he refers to this concept as controlling the controllables. And this is a similar concept to what I've talked about on the podcast previously, with being able to control kind of like your mindset and your energy and your equipment and your effort and your ears and your eyes from the brave athlete. But here he's really talking about, how do you focus on the things that you can control with your finances? And if you're doing the right things, then you're going to be wealthy and financially secure. So do you want to hear the first or the 5 questions? Let's get into it. So the first question that he asks, or he wants to ask, is, do you want to be rich? And so the first question is, do you want to be rich, or are you just trying to get out of debt? Or, do you want to be financially secure? And really understanding, what do you want? And then once you answer that question, it's understanding, why do you want what you want? Do you want to be rich, financially secure, or out of debt? And there's all sorts of obstacles that come in your way when you're trying to build wealth, and it takes a long time. But like he said, it's not about being rich, or it's not about having money. It's about what can that money do for you. So asking yourself that question and trying to get clarity around, what do I want to do? And then why do I want that? That's going to serve as the motivation for taking action on these things. It's really the same as my belief of, why do you want to do this half Ironman? Why do you want to do this Ironman? And trying to understand what your why is, so that can serve as your motivation. And another thing that he talks about in this section is one of the main reasons people fail financially is because they spend their money in ways that contradict their values. And when you really, when your values are clear, your financial decisions become easier. So for me, I value time with my family, quality time and experiences. I value education, and I value health through these endurance events. And so whenever it comes to making a purchase on something that's, an experience that I'll enjoy with Emily or with my family, then I'm going to buy that likely. If it's something that I believe will help me grow in the future or help me learn something, I'm going to buy that as well. And if it's something that's going to make me healthier, I'm probably going to buy that as well. So that's an example of how do your values tie in with your financial decisions. So the second question is, do you pay yourself first? Do you pay yourself first? And what he says is, simply put, when you earn money, the first person who gets paid, it should be you. And nothing is going to create confidence for you financially like paying yourself first. And that is a big question that you really should start to think about is, do you pay yourself first? And he went through this, this kind of day in the life where, in a typical 9 to 5 in the United States, you work from 9 to 12 to pay the government. From 12 to 3, you work for your rent, your mortgage, your utilities. From 3 to 4, you work for your health care and food. And 4 to 5, you work for miscellaneous expenses. And even if you do everything right, there's really not a lot of money to save at the end of the day. And that's why half of Americans can't get $1,000 in case of an emergency. And that's because you don't have enough in savings and you're not paying yourself first. So if you are paying yourself first, the next question is, well, how much do you need to pay yourself first? And his rule is 1 hour a day of your income minimum. So whatever you're earning for your first hour of your day needs to go into your retirement account. So 1 hour a day of your income comes out to 12.5% of your gross income. And that, according to David Bach, is the minimum amount you should save. And if you're self-employed, it should be 15% or more of your income. And that's what's going to give you the financial confidence, knowing you're taking care of your income and putting it away for yourself and your future. And for us as endurance athletes and triathletes, if we're taking care of ourselves, for our future through retirement and, future savings, then it's okay to spend a couple $100s on a race or a couple $100s on upgrades to your bike or whatever that is. So, third question, do you save 1 hour a day of your income? So far it's, do you want to be rich? Do you pay yourself first? If yes, and then do you save 1 hour a day of your income? Again, so you're looking at 12.5% of your gross income. Fourth question, and this was a big one, is do you save money automatically? And when he was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley, they would encourage all of their clients to save automatically because they saw that no one would save for longer than 3 months if it wasn't automatic. And that's because you want to make one decision that removes all of your future decisions. So you can go into your Vanguard or whatever your portfolio is and just set up an automatic transfer. You can go into your 401k, your IRA, whatever that is for you, and set that up automatically. And that way you don't need to consciously go in every single month and do the same thing over and over and over again. Or you don't need to worry about all of these different budgets and trying to manage the budget. Whereas you just know every single month you're paying yourself first and you don't need to worry about that in the future. So that was a big one. And then the fifth question is, do you know what your latte factor is? Do you know what your latte factor is? And so this was a newer concept to me, but he talks about how so many people have told him that they cannot save automatically, but what he says is small amounts of money every day can change your life. So even $5 or $10 a day can change your life when it's compounded over time. And you've got to start somewhere. And if you don't believe that you have the money to save, you will never save. And so he asked this question of, what does it cost to waste $10,000 a year? And it basically comes down to $27.40 a day. So it's just simple math. $10,000 divided by 365, you get $27.40 a day. And that's less than what most people make an hour. But that amount would start your retirement or emergency account. And what would happen if you took that amount of money and invested it? What would happen over 20 and 30 and 40 years? Just $27.40 a day. In 20 years, that would be $572,000. In 30 years, that would be $1.6 million. And in 40 years, that would be $4.4 million. And he talks about how the key is for your money to make money. And these returns that he's talking about in this financial model were based on just being in an index fund like the stock market. And the way that you get these kinds of returns is just by buying a balanced mutual fund like an S&P 500 index fund or the Vanguard's total stock market index fund. Just something simple, balanced, and even boring is okay. And it really doesn't need to be too complicated. And he really stressed that just small amounts of money can change your life, and it can free you to live your best life. And so those were kind of the 5 questions that he shared in his teaching. He talks about controlling the controllables. He talks about, do you want to be rich? Understanding why is that the case and what does that mean to you? He asked the question of, do you want to do you pay yourself first? And then do you save 1 hour a day of your income, 12.5% of your gross annual income? And then do you do it automatically? Do you save that money automatically? And do you know what your latte factor is, which is what's that small amount of money each day that when you add it up over a year or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, how is that going to set you up for success? So those are the 5 questions that I wanted to share with you as an athlete and as a triathlete about. These are 5 things and 5 questions that you can ask yourself and answer today that can set you up for success in the future. And really, it can free you to invest in yourself and invest in your health and invest in your energy. Because like I said at the beginning, triathlons are expensive. It's an expensive sport. It's an expensive hobby, but it's totally worth it when you have the confidence knowing that you're setting yourself up for success in the future by being financially responsible and by knowing that this is going to lead to more energy and more confidence. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that was helpful, and I'll talk to you all later.